Have you ever thought that we live in a world that's so corrupt and nothing's the way it used to be? Did you ever get the idea that the closer you are to the truth, the more hatred you receive, and the more dangerous situation that you're in? Why the peacemakers? John Lennon, Nelson Mandela, JFK, Malcolm X. Why is it the people who want peace and understanding between one another who get shot right in the head? Why do we live in a world where women who cover themselves are called terrorists and oppressed, and the ones who go naked on TV get paid and respected? Why? Some people might say money, ideology, power. People want more stuff in this world. Well, I got an answer for you. 2 words. Illuminati. The Illuminati is a secret society / religion, fraternity, whatever you call it, mafia, who are intending to control the world. They want to brainwash us. And a lot of you might think this is a conspiracy theory, and this conspiracy theory has a lot of viewpoints, and I'm trying to give you the viewpoint that made most sense to me, that had the best resources, and it's going to be more of an Islamic viewpoint from what I researched overseas. And like I said, this is the one that made most sense to me, and not anything that is more Islamic or anti-Jewish. It's the one that made most sense to me. So I'm going to be talking about the Illuminati today, and this is something that matters all of us because of what I said earlier. And I'm going to talk about 3 points of the Illuminati. First, how it started. The Illuminati started as ancient magic, dark scripts called the Kabbalah. Next, I'm going to talk about Adam Weishaupt, who established the official order of the Illuminati in Germany. And third, I'm going to talk about the Illuminati today, if it still even exists, and their signs of existence. So let's dig into history. The Kabbalah. Long ago, in Egypt, we had the Jews, who I'm going to tell a little story mentioned in the Quran. And it starts that when the Jews were in Egypt, they were practicing dark magic under the Pharaoh. And this dark magic, of course, it's dark, it's evil. And this is when God had Moses to tell them that this is wrong. This is when God established the covenant between the Jews and God. The Jews obey, God gives us the promised land. The promised land is known as Palestine. The Jews go to Palestine with Moses. When he hits the sea with his stick, they cross. And then at the times after Moses comes the times of Solomon and his son David, where they built the temple of Solomon and David in Jerusalem today. And well, it's not existent today. And these Jews still practice dark magic, and that's when Solomon took these ritual books, these scripts, the Kabbalah, and buried them under his temple. But the Jews didn't know. So this is what happened. When King Solomon and David died, Lucifer, the devil of the Kabbalah, came down as human and told the Jews this is where the books are. So they dug them up. They practiced it even more. Then in 586 BC, the Babylons came and destroyed the temple. They took the Jews as slaves to Babylon under new dictatorship, new customs, new leadership, no more dark magic, and they became slaves. Several centuries later, they went back to Palestine to rebuild the temple. Only later after then, the Roman Empire came and destroyed it again, never to be rebuilt. And the Jews scattered around the world. This is where they enter Europe. The Kabbalah that the Jews inherited has gone to Europe through the Jews, and it became under the hands of these Frenchmen, 9 Frenchmen, who called themselves the Knights Templar. These Knights Templar were fascinated by these rituals, and they made it even more interesting. They added their own magic scripts, and they were fascinated, and they discovered that the origin of this Kabbalah was in Palestine, where the Jews were in the first place. So they declared the Crusading Wars on Palestine. And in the history that I read about when I was overseas, it was a massacre. There was one day when they slaughtered 5,000 or 10,000 people in front of the Dome of the Rock that day. It was a nightmare. And they did all this horrible stuff. They destroyed the temple. And they destroyed the temple for 2 reasons. They wanted to retrieve what was left from the Kabbalah, from the original sources, and they didn't want the Muslims to even know about it, because they feared of a greater source. So they destroyed it. And because of these horrible acts, and they kept practicing this worship, they even added more devil worshipping into it. They summoned demons into cats' heads and goats' heads and put them on the table. The people would gather around and they would summon Lucifer. This is when they developed a really bad reputation. And don't forget, this is in Europe. There's Vatican, there's religion. All this is anti-Christ, anti-religion. If they knew about this, they would slaughter them. And they did. They gathered all of them. They knew about their hideouts. They destroyed their hideouts, the Knights Templar hideouts in Europe. And they told them. And they destroyed them. So they were weak at that time, and then that time they had a war against England. So they joined forces with Scotland in the 14th century against England, and then later on they made their own Great Britain. That's when Great Britain was developed. And they sacrificed their name. Because of that bad reputation, they sacrificed their name to be known as the Freemasons. Now, I want you to bear with me in these 2 slides. It gets very confusing between Freemasons and the Illuminati. Think of the Freemasons as the authority in the world. There are 33 levels. So, when you enter the Freemasonry, you're in level 1. The more you want to know, the more you practice this dark magic, the higher the level you get into. The more evil you want to get to, the higher you'll be. 33 level Masons are presidents that made big differences in this world. And by differences, I mean negative differences. George Washington, Ronald Reagan, Walt Disney. And I'll show you why. But the Freemasonry, like I said, I just want to point out the difference. The Freemasonry is the authority, and the Illuminati, which brings me to my second point, is the way, the dark way, the process into maintaining this authority. So for my second point, now at this time, the Freemasons were in Europe, and they went to America, of course, indirectly through Christopher Columbus in 1776. In the 13 colonies, they declared their independence on July 4 in 1776. And at that time, George Washington became the first Masonic president in the world. At the same time, we had the New World Order being developed, being established in Europe. And according to the American Times magazine from the Memorial Library, Adam Weishaupt, he was a university lecturer who was influenced by the government and religion in Europe and didn't like that because he didn't have limits. So he had this mentality of, if we had no religion, if we had no government, if we had a secular order, that would be much better, because then I would be free. I would have no limits and anything can happen. So he established the Order of the Illuminati and the New World Order on May 1, 1776. Keep that date in mind and keep July 4th, 1776 in mind. He established the New World Order to overthrow religion and government. Now think about this for a while. Religion and government. Think about all the reputation that the Western media makes about Muslims. 9/11, the Gaza complex in this summer, everything, Ukraine, Russia, all these governmental, political events that are happening. This is all a plan to progress in this new world order. And we are part of this plan. Look at your dollar bill right now. Here we have the pyramid. You can see that the pyramid is not complete, and we have an eye here. The eye of Horus, the eye of Lucifer, the god that is looking to make sure everything is going into plan. It's not complete, because this new world order is still in process. When they maintain their goal, when they're waiting for this upcoming Messiah, the Antichrist, to be their leader, that's when this will be complete. Anuet Coeptis is Latin for announcing conception. Conception is a beginning. Beginning of what? As announcing the beginning of Novus Ordo Seclorum, the new secular, aka the new world order. Here we have 13 layers. These 13 layers represent the 13 colonies that when the Americans declared independence. Why not 50? Because this is when the Masonic government was formed. These Roman numerals ND, I can't read from here, but it says 1776. This is not July 4, 1776, this is May 1, 1776, when the Illuminati was established. And the sources say in Europe that this Roman numeral, they agreed on this to be printed on a dollar in 1774, 1775, even before 1776. That proves that this was, they knew that this was going to be established. Now something even freakier. Here we have a pyramid, 3 points, 1 pointing to the end, 1 to the end. Draw one more triangle from here upside down. Over here, the letters that match it over here are AS. Right here on the bottom matches O. Rewrite that word and what does it say?
Mason.
This is the secret of the Freemasonry / Illuminati. This is what I just explained. Here are more dollar bill conspiracies. What do you see here? You see a building, fire, more fire, nothing. What does that mean?
World Trade.
9/11. This is the new $100 bill with that new blueprint. Anyone know what this movie's from? Day After Tomorrow? Buildings with what? With a whole tsunami. This I don't agree exactly. This is a matter of opinion. This is the most matter of opinion in this slide, but I just thought I'd bring it. Some people might find it interesting, but this is basically a foreshadowing of, they say America might have a nuclear incident, just like 9/11, and this brings a tsunami and floods wherever this is taken at, London, I'm not sure. But this is just one conspiracy theory. It's not something I am emphasizing on. But this brings me to my third point. I forgot to add a third point over there, but this right there is supposed to be 3, which is the Illuminati today and their signs of existence. The Illuminati is believed that they are still here today, and their signs are all over. You can see them everywhere. This is Disney. That's why I brought Walt Disney into this. What does it say over there? Ask about Illuminati. This is from another Disney show. Illuminati. This destroyed my childhood. All-seeing eyes in Yu-Gi-Oh! In Hollywood. In the music industry. The famous rapper Eminem. Raising the devil horns, covering with one eye. And by the way, this is a big fact that led to his depression in the beginning of the 21st century. And for my last slide, I want you to tell me what you see here. Anything. Point out anything you see.
Triangle.
Triangle. Good. Who's in the picture? It's from a music video.
I think it's Rihanna.
Rihanna. What's she doing?
She's like that.
She's upside down, right? Like praying.
She's posing. She's representing something. Can someone see what it is? What are her hands?
Double horns.
Oh yeah. That's very.
I've talked about the Illuminati started as the Kabbalah. They've entered Europe and developed into the Freemasons and the official Illuminati, the New World Order. And these are the signs that you see in front of you in the Illuminati today. And as my speech is coming to an end, in referring to my attention getter, to the questions I asked, I hope I answered your questions, and I'm pretty sure I answered questions that you never thought of asking, which even brought me to this whole topic in the first place. This is nothing to what I actually researched. This is just mostly history. If you do research about this, you'll find so many answers to questions you never thought of asking, and you'll be interested. And you'll be amazed of what you'll see there and how this is related to a lot of stuff in the world, and not just what I'm talking about in this PowerPoint. And referring back to my central idea, the Illuminati is a big force in this world. You cannot doubt that. Whether they're real or not, you cannot doubt that there is something controlling our world right now. The bad economy in America, all these killings, all these stuff you see on Facebook, why they can build a banner about supporting the poor, where they can use that $1 million to actually feed the poor. All these stuff that don't make sense. Something's not wrong. Something's wrong. Something's not right in this world. And my final advice is, wake up. Thank you.